years, Nestlé has hidden under the false blanket they call good food, good life, but would never for once tell the world their true intentions. What they bring to the market is what they want the world to see. In reality, they are only out for the profit and pay little attention to the down effect their business has on the environment. They have contributed to marine life threats, greenhouse emissions, child labor, pollution, and even worse, resource depletion, and they are not slowing down on the harm they are bringing to society. You might think the company's evil ways have nothing to do with you, and that's very far from the truth. The organization is bigger than just a baby food or water manufacturing company. It has big investments across the world. Popular brands like Ralston Purina, Altrium Innovations, Freshly, Roundtree Macintosh Confectionery, and Maggie, and many, many more are all under the Nestlé umbrella. Join us as we go through a history that has existed since 1866 and how far they have damaged society, because obviously, Nestlé is willing to go to any length just to make their pockets bigger. Nestlé's journey began in 1866, and interestingly, despite being established in Switzerland, their most well-known product wasn't the one that immediately comes to mind. It all started with two brothers, Charles and George Page, who took advantage of what appeared then to be a promising opportunity. During that time, fresh milk was not a Swiss problem, as they literally had an abundance of it. These two brothers, who had a Native American history, decided to establish a production facility to transform this fresh milk into condensed milk. And it was a big deal then, because it greatly extended the shelf life of the milk. At approximately the same time, a German immigrant known as Henry Nestle had his own side hustle working on a different milk product in Switzerland. His goal was to create a nourishing product specifically designed for babies. The market was booming, and in a matter of a few years, the two companies found themselves locked in fierce competition. The Page brothers ventured into the formula business, while Nestlé started manufacturing condensed milk. But the Page brothers had a plan to expand their reach, but the plan was halted due to the death of George Page. In 1902, they began selling off different parts of their operations. Eventually, they merged with Nestlé, which laid the foundation for the massive business organization that was driven by the desire to expand and make more money. In the 1970s, the company decided to grow its baby formula market. They took a marketing approach that involved promoting their baby formula as better than breast milk. Their aim was to influence customers by creating a story that their formula is highly beneficial for infants, claiming it provides all the essential nutrients that breast milk may lack. In an attempt to create a solid argument, they went as far as bribing medical specialists to testify in their favor. Their attempts to sell their narratives were clearly a deceitful scheme designed to mislead people. Fortunately, there are still medical experts who choose integrity over financial gain. The consensus among medical experts is that breast milk is the best source of nourishment for infants, with no other substitute coming close. Yeah, not even the fake brand Nestlé. Sadly, before the true reports about how Nestlé was nothing but a ripoff went out, they had already done a lot of damage in places like Africa and Asia. Fueled by desperation and desire to get rich, Nestlé took drastic measures by employing saleswomen in developing areas of Asia and Africa. These women were tasked with providing medical advice to mothers and distributing complimentary samples of their baby formula. These mothers, who had zero or little education, placed their trust in women who appeared to be nurses. The free samples were carefully weighed and packaged with a strategic plan in mind. The intention was for them to last until the day when mothers become fully dependent on the formula and stop producing breast milk themselves. Thousands of infants tragically lost their lives due to an evil PR stunt orchestrated by the company in an attempt to promote their brand, Nestlé's baby formula. As a result, the children were lacking the essential nutrients that breast milk typically supplies. The most devastating consequences were felt in the underdeveloped regions of the world. In these areas, mothers, in an effort to cut costs, would dilute the formula with excessive amounts of water, unknown to them that they were only depriving their children of essential nutrients and causing them to suffer from malnutrition. The tragic outcome of this situation was the loss of thousands of lives, and the media went so far as to nickname the formula Baby Killer. As the situation deteriorated and public frustration grew, leading to protests, The World Health Organization took action in 1981 by passing an international code of marketing of breast milk substitutes. Sadly, the harm had already been done. But instead of withdrawing the killing product from the market, the company adopted a campaign after election strategy. They invested heavily in ads that stated that breast milk is irreplaceable. When you hear the name Nestlé, one of the many products that come to mind is packaged water. Medical experts always state the importance of drinking water, but this particular Nestlé water has proven to take a high number of lives. Don't let the attractive images of springs, lakes, and mountains on the labels fool you. The truth is, the majority of the water in Nestlé's packaged bottles actually comes from underground sources. The company has gone back and forth trying to make people look the other way, but in reality, they are taking advantage of the groundwater in areas where it is most needed by the public and then selling it for their own financial gain. The interesting thing is, in their 2008 corporate citizenship report, Nestlé themselves stated that many of their bottles end up in the solid waste stream, and that most of their bottles are not recycled. Although they have tried everything humanly possible to counter their corporate citizenship report, the information is already out there. To add icing to the cake, several reports have indicated that Nestlé brands dominate the plastic bottles found during beach cleanings. This finding highlights Nestlé's significant role in contributing to water and land pollution. It's not only the plastic bottles themselves that cause harm to the environment, but also the water that is contained within them. Back in 2013, the corporation made a decision to redirect a significant amount of clean water from the local Pakistani community to their factories. Unfortunately, this left the population with no alternative but to resort to drinking sewage and sludge water. The evil corporation is not only doing this in Pakistan, but also in many other underdeveloped countries that have abundant natural resources. Nestlé takes advantage of tax regulations to readily exploit these resources. Despite all the advancement that has happened post-World War II and the abolishment of slavery and child labor, it is very sad that a brand that sells itself as a baby food manufacturer would be involved in child labor. Numerous reports have extensively documented the widespread use of child labor in cocoa production across West African plantations. And which company was leading the gist? You guessed right, Nestlé. These reports have also shed light on the alarming issues of slavery and child trafficking in this industry. In the 2010 documentary titled The Dark Side of Chocolate, the documentary revealed that the children involved in the cocoa industry are usually between the ages of 12 and 15. In 2005, Nestlé made a bold claim to address and eliminate this problem, promising to create products that adhere to ethical standards. However, it hasn't made significant progress in addressing the problem. According to the company, a significant portion of the child labor that remains unpaid in the chocolate industry is carried out by children who are working on their parents' farms. They claim that these farmers are unable to afford schooling due to financial constraints and therefore rely on every available pair of hands to help them meet their basic needs, such as food, shelter, and other necessities. You can't help but laugh at such claims because the logic behind this is obviously ridiculous. After all, it is Nestlé who pays these farmers, so it only makes sense for them to take some responsibility and provide assistance to those who work for them. But what do they do next? They try to play the avoidance card and fool the world again. All they did was to incorporate fair trade symbols on their packaging, aiming to highlight the use of ethically sourced cocoa in their chocolate bars. In a real sense, it does not address the underlying issue at hand, the presence of illegal child labor. However, Nestlé is nothing but a company that feeds off people's lack of knowledge. And instead of being the hero, they are nothing but fraudsters that wants to get the paper at all cost, even if it means losing a life. But does it make any difference? Nestlé has never tried to sell you on their evil path. They sell you on the good side. With that, we come to the end of this video. Please hit that subscribe icon and remember to turn on notifications so that you may get notified whenever we upload other cool videos like this one.